quietly and follow along. At any point, click the pause button to catch up or take a break. Hi, welcome to my channel, Art with Miss Dykman. In this video, we're going to be doing a giant squish print of a cupcake. A squish print is when we make a symmetrical copy of one side to the other by squishing the paper in half. What you're going to need is a 12 by 18 inch sheet of construction paper. You can use a smaller size, but I found this works a lot better. So I know it's not going to quite fit perfectly in my screen, so I'll try to adjust accordingly. Take your paper, put it in front of you in portrait mode, long way up and down, and fold it in half. Okay? Line up your edges the best you can and get a really good crease, because we're going to be using this crease throughout our project as we squish. Open it back up. We're going to be drawing on one half of our paper to give us some guidelines. I'll be using a black Sharpie marker so you can see my lines nice and clearly in the video, but you might want to use a pencil so you can erase. Okay? We're going to begin at the bottom of our paper, leaving a little bit of space, okay, about an inch at least from the bottom. And we're going to be doing a giant, just a slight curve up, okay, slight curve. Then we're going to go straight from that point up, being careful of the outside. We don't want to get too close to the edge of our paper. Next, what we're going to do is do a giant zigzag down, up, down, up, down, okay? Or maybe smaller or less across our paper. Whatever we do on this side is going to be reflected on the other. Next, I'm going to draw some cake lines in our cupcake. It's going to come down like that. Now let's get to frosting our cupcake. What we're going to do is I'm going to come slightly inside my paper cake, and I'm going to add frosting like this. I'm going to come up at a curve and stopping about halfway through that line. I'm going to connect a line and come up almost to a point. All right, looks really good. Remember, whatever we do on this side is going to happen on the other. If you want, you could probably add a little bit of cherry on it. So I'm going to do a half circle like this, just to complete the look. Let's begin squish printing. We're going to be taking black to give it a good outline and to trace our lines that you just drew. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. With each line, you're going to apply paint and stroke it 3 times to ensure that it's evenly spread on your line. We're going to do small sections. So I do the cherry, and now I'm just going to do this line. I like to sometimes go back and forth on my longer lines on my squish print to ensure that the paint has gone evenly on that line. Put your paintbrush down, and now what we're going to do is fold your paper in half on that crease. Put your hands on the paper. Using your knuckles, give it a small knuckle rub. These are small massages and circles to press the paper gently into the surface. And transfer the paint to the other side. What I love about squish prints is the materials always tell you how you can improve it. So I have some lines that were a little dry, so I'm going to reapply paint. And you need to re-squish it. That's how you create a symmetrical design. If you don't squish it, you'll see that I touched it up and it won't be the same on both sides. We want one side to affect the other. Here we go. Beautiful. Now let's do the next section of our frosting. Come up and back up and down both ways. You might need a little more paint on your brush. Kind of trust your feelings and see if you need more. I am going to now re-squish. Okay. Perfect. I can add a little more paint if I need to. This is a big cupcake, so it's gonna take some paint. The reason we don't do the whole cupcake is by the time we get to squishing, our paint will be dry. Okay, and as I just said, we want to kind of take it slow in sections, so I'm going to do my zigzag across. I like to do my 3 strokes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I found that works really good in especially smaller sections. Here we go, back and forth, slight knuckle rub. Here we go. Awesome, we are making our cupcake. Woohoo! Let's finish strong. I'm gonna start on the outside and I'm gonna do about halfway because that's a long stroke, and I'm gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna finish it at the top, back and forth on those longer strokes, maybe one stroke completing the whole thing. Here we go. And let's open it back up. Very good. Now we're going to same thing. All right, I'm just gonna touch up those lines and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what's coming up in this video. So this cupcake actually has 2 parts to it. We are doing a squish print with multiple colors. This is a more advanced squish print, not only because of its form, but the fact that we're also gonna be adding a second color for our frosting and possibly adding sprinkles. And we're gonna finish up our squish print with a nice curve to our cup at the bottom. Here we go. And let's open. Perfect, there is our cupcake. We are now gonna enhance our frosting section. I'll turn it on its side so you can see the whole thing. So I'm gonna switch my black paint and I'm gonna use white and pink for my frosting. For this, I am just going to take some white paint and I'm going to apply some really cool horizontal strokes in my cupcake. I'm starting along the bottom. Now this paint is thin. This is washable tempera paint, so it just takes a couple layers to build up. Try not to paint on the black, okay? You will see the magic happen with this material. We're gonna now squish and transfer that white paint to the other side. Again, don't despair if it's on the little thin side. It will change. Okay, so now I'm gonna add that layer again. I'm gonna repeat, just adding some white. Try not to cross over those black lines. We have those black lines as a way to outline our subject and give it a really good style. There we go, it's slowly enhancing. I'm gonna not wash my brush and switch to pink and do the same thing. I am creating a line right on top using pink and letting the white just naturally blend. This is gonna give our frosting some layered effects. And let's squish. So you may think if you add more paint you get more that way, but not necessarily. What you might get is a blob of color. Ooh, it's really turning out good. So we're gonna repeat again for a second time. When we allow the paint to just kind of naturally layer, it actually gets a stronger color. Okay. I'm gonna add a little white and do another layer on top now. I'm gonna spread that white out a little bit more. And we're gonna repeat this process, layering the paint and squishing to get a really cool gradual cupcake frosting. Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna add some more white because our white needs a second layer. And I can start to fill in those shapes that the frosting creates. Add a little pink layer now. We work in small sections, otherwise our paint will begin to dry before it has a chance to transfer. Here we go. And I'm going to complete my squish print by filling in the top with some white. This is a smaller section. Remember to stay in those black lines. Here we go. Ooh, looking really good. Now I'm gonna go back again and I'm gonna add some more white. I'm just doing a stroke of paint at the bottom and on those other white sections. Just a stroke because the paint will kind of naturally spread. Another layer on my white top. And here we go. Ooh, you can see the paint getting more thick. I'm going to switch over to pink now to enhance my pink sections. It's okay if it's got a little white. White kind of acts like a primer or a thickener for colors. A little bit in the center there. And I want to add a little pink towards the top. I think that will be kind of fun. Okay, here we go. Voila! Looking like a really good cupcake. Somebody's got good frosting skills. Now I can just add some more white over the top. You can add it in various areas now that we have enough paint layered on here. Just to give it a little variation. Okay. You might feel like your paper's starting to get a little saturated. That's from the paint soaking in. It's totally normal. Just go a little more gentle on your knuckle rub so you don't have a rip. Beautiful. I really like this frosting. So what we're going to do next is you can paint your cherry if you want. I'm going to just do solid pink. Remember to squish. We want to get that color nice and spread out. I'm not going to do a couple layers on my cherry. I'm just putting a base coat down because later on in our video, once our paint dries, we can use crayons to enhance our squish print even further. I'm going to be putting my colored paints aside and bringing back my black paint with a Q-tip to stamp some sprinkles. Okay. Just to give more of the characteristic of what we're doing. I'm going to take my Q-tip, go directly up and down in my black paint, and then just stamp and maybe pull the Q-tip to a side. Stamp and pull to the side. Stamp, pull to a side or the direction. And we are not going to be squishing, friends. I want my sprinkles to appear kind of erotic and not symmetrical. Notice I'm dipping in between each sprinkle. That is to ensure that I have enough paint on my Q-tip so the colors don't blend. Always go back and touch them up. Okay, we're gonna add more colors using crayons and highlights. This is one of my favorite parts of the squish print coming up, so we can really enhance it. Okay, our cupcake has dried. I'm gonna cut it out using a pair of scissors. I like to cut on the outside edge of my black line. Okay, now we're gonna add some fun color pop to this cupcake. I'm going to use a black crayon if you would like to just, you know, straighten up any of your black lines. There's a couple areas I got a little sloppy that I just want to touch up to make it look a little more cohesive as a piece, especially here between my cherry and my frosting. I want to keep those separate to really make it look like that cherry is sitting right on top. I have a variety of crayons and colors that we can be using to add sprinkles and other fun things to your cupcake. There, I liked how it touched up the edges just a little bit. Speaking of cherry, I'm going to grab my red crayon and I'm going to color in that space. I'm also going to leave a little bit of an area open for a highlight. That's where I can take my white crayon and color that space in. There we go. Now it really looks like a cherry. The fun thing is I'm going to now really make my cupcake cup look like paper just by giving it some strokes. I'm following the horizontal movement of the cup, and I'm just gradually, really lightly taking a blue crayon around kind of my edges to make it look like it really inverted in and out in that accordion fold. This is just giving that cupcake more dimension. And then soon I'll be coming to the bottom and giving a little more of a shadow down there as well. You can use any color for this. I am using blue because it stands out on our purple paper. Okay, I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of purple, add a little bit more dimension to some areas, mainly around my edge. Okay, so now you can take any color you want, and with tempera and crayon, it should show up overall pretty good, just giving a little highlight to certain colors for sprinkles if you chose to do sprinkles, or if you'd like to add sprinkles, now would be a good time. That's orange, this is blue. Not all colors are going to show up brightly, but it gives that little bit of tint of color, makes it really fun. I'm going to add some yellow. Try green. And I really like how this color scheme is turning out on my cupcake. I think I got all my sprinkles, looking really good. Okay, the last thing you can do is, if you want to just go over any of your area of your frosting with pink to give it more dimension. If pink isn't really showing up, you can always switch to a different color. We are going to be going to white. I always leave white for last in my squish prints because it is my absolute favorite part. I'm going to switch to red since it's a little bit darker than pink, just to see if I can get some more dimension in this cupcake. And I'm just coloring any area that I feel use a little more enhancement. Okay, let's move on to the best part, which is our white crayon. Okay, obviously we can go over any other part of the frosting that we would like white or to enhance. And then we're going to move on to some highlighting. Okay, I'm gonna go on to highlighting now. With my white crayon, I stroke across any characteristic of my subject. Remember, in this video, we're doing a cupcake that I feel it could use a little enhancement, or I wanna draw the viewer's eye to that movement. For example, in this one, these parts of the cupcake. The paper cup is very important to me. This curve I really want to enhance, maybe this side. This edging right here that divides up the cupcake frosting and the cup. I can make my frosting a little more solid if I wish. Okay. This edge, obviously around my cherry, we got to get that, the cherry top. Okay. Any of these edges, maybe a little up here. It's just whatever you feel like enhancing at the time. There is our Squish Print Cupcake. Thanks for joining me. That was sweet.